I used to work in social media. Everything I did was on a screen at one point, but without realizing it, I started to pick up analog hobbies: watercolor, drawing, knitting, painting, journaling, you name it. After I left my social media management job, my whole life became more about doing physical hobbies and being more intentional. And honestly, there is just something that feels so good about making things with your hands that screens just cannot replicate at all. Here's why physical hobbies matter even in a digital world. So here's the thing. I love the analog life, even if it is just a trend right now, because it is. All of my hobbies are actually very physical. I paint on canvas, I knit, and I even plan in paper planners when everyone right now is doing digital planners. I still love magazines so deeply. I have to convince myself not to buy a magazine when I'm at a bookstore. I think I might just start up again. If CD and cassette players were not so cumbersome, I would consider still carrying them around. And I'm really tempted to carry around a CD player these days. I'll get into that later. I think a lot of people are feeling this pull into the analog life. Everyone is digitally burnt out, and rightfully so. And I think people are just craving more tangibility. And no, I am not anti-technology, but I do want to go over why I chose more analog hobbies and interests. So let's go over point number 1. Analog demands presence. Scrolling has taken over so much of our lives. It really has. Like, TikTok is like a slot machine, and it is so addictive. And now it just feels like we're just in an endless scroll. But it has taken up even parts of our lives where it really shouldn't. For instance, when you're searching for inspiration, I find myself scrolling for inspiration, just scrolling and scrolling, searching and scrolling. And it turns into this vicious cycle. And then I'm like, I'm not motivated or inspired at all. And that's not a good thing. But one thing about when you're engaging in your analog hobbies, or at least when I am, is that I cannot scroll and knit at the same time. Well, I can, but I choose not to. When I'm painting, I'm just painting. I can't do a word search and scroll on Instagram at the same time. When I'm sewing, I'm just sewing. Sewing is a very demanding hobby, but it definitely keeps you focused on sewing, and I do love that about it. Allowing yourself to be present in such hobbies actually quiets your brain, and I believe that it even rebuilds your attention span. Now that I have been more intentional about doing my hobbies, I find that my attention span is way better than it was back in like 2022. So going analog isn't just about diving into this trend of having an analog bag, bricking your phone, or anything like that. It is just about being present in all of your hobbies. And I don't know, I think that is why I am so engaged in my analog hobbies. But that brings me to point number 2, analog equals permanent. And this is one thing that, when it comes to the digital world, I am not happy about. To be honest, I feel like we all got bamboozled by clouds and digital storage. Biggest scam, in my opinion, ever. I recently went on a trip, and as soon as I hit airplane mode, while on the airplane, of course, I could not listen to any of my music. Once upon a time, I could click download after adding a song to my library, and it would actually download into my phone or just be like a physical MP3 file. But apparently, that's no longer the case. I'm not exactly sure what happened. Pretty much all of the music that I've listened to over the last 2 to 3 years, I cannot access while in airplane mode or simply offline. And that's what has made me contemplate getting a CD player or even a cassette player, because then I can just burn some of my favorite music, the music that I really want to listen to on the airplane, on a CD player. And while yes, it'll probably be cumbersome, it's way better than having to rely on digital downloads. A big upside of a CD player is that I'll have physical music again. I have even debated just buying an album that I really like. For instance, Cowboy Carter, my favorite artist, I'll just buy their albums. Maybe that's what I'll do, but I don't know. The things you make physically will last. Digital files corrupt, apps shut down, and platforms change. Crochet pants, they last years, as long as you can fit them, of course. My journals from 2020, still here and ready to be flipped through. Paintings that I made a year ago, hanging up on my wall right now. You can't really see them, but they're there. Now that I think about it, something disappearing after 24 hours does feel a little bit dystopian. Point number 3, and why I think we should be engaging in analog hobbies or interests. Analog slows you down, and that is a good thing, not a bad thing. We're so used to quickly churning out everything that we end up with crap. Look at fast fashion. Honestly, look at everything. Look at movies. Look at TV shows. Well, maybe not TV shows. Not everything is meant to be this quick process that gives you instant gratification. You can't speed read a physical book the way you can listen to an audiobook. And don't get it twisted, I love audiobooks, but physical reading is just 10 times better. You can't rush knitting, even if you are fast. It'll get done when it gets done. We're so conditioned to optimize everything. Productivity hacks, 2x speed videos, you name it. Sometimes slower is better. Don't you see the better quality in things and the meditative state you enter when you do things more slowly? Just a thought. Point number 4, you own what you make. And this is probably going to be my biggest point in the case of going analog or even going partially analog, is that you own everything that you make. And I don't mean it in terms of like, yeah, girl, you own that. No, I mean, you actually own it. A lot of digital creative work lives on platforms like Instagram, for example, even YouTube. If the platform goes away, so does all of your work. I love to tell people to host their own websites, if you can afford to, of course. I own both my art website and also my blog. If either hosting site decides to go away, I still own all of my work. WordPress doesn't own my work. I own it. Shopify doesn't own my artwork. I still own it. And I still own my own domain. But even outside of websites, your journals are yours and nobody else's. Your knit projects are yours, even if you follow the pattern. No algorithm gets to decide if those things are valuable. And best of all, they cannot be deleted out of some cloud or corrupted on a hard drive. So if any of this resonates, truly consider giving any analog hobby a try. If you haven't already, of course, because I'm sure most of you have, but maybe you just decided it wasn't worth it. But definitely give something else a try, or try the analog hobby for longer. Get some cheap watercolors and some secondhand brushes and try doing some watercolor. Start writing in a notebook and just write whatever you want. Learn to crochet through YouTube. That's how I learned. And start buying magazines again. I don't know, me and magazines are locked in. And with those magazines, create collages again. You do not have to go full out like I did, because literally everything that I do is analog alongside social media and all that. But definitely give it a try. Notice the difference between making a Canva creation and a physical creation. The way it feels is just different. I truly think a lot of us need physical creative outlets. So my life is intentionally analog. When I wasn't able to listen to any of my music during my delayed flight on this last trip I went on, I went to the gift shop and bought a booklet of word searches. It's physical media and hobbies over here in my life. I'm still debating CDs or cassettes, but I'm definitely considering it. And it isn't about being anti-technology. Hello, I'm on YouTube right now. What? It's really just about being intentional and stopping doom scrolling and letting the digital gods or whatever know that we still do crave physical media, because not everything needs to be on a cloud. Not everything needs to disappear after a certain amount of time. Just because not enough people are watching a movie doesn't mean you have to take it off Netflix. People still want to watch it. It's getting a little out of hand these days. But anyway, if you're living more analog these days, let me know in the comments what you're up to. I'd love to hear about it. Also, let me know if you like this topic, and I'll definitely be making more about it. But that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.